So I have a hot take here if you want it, which is
Throw
that
it down.
if Neon was an easier company to work with, Supabase would be running on top of Neon.
Oh,
Because like realistically, Supabase needs what Neon has, which is like Supabase needs small Postgres to be cheap. And so because Neon is not as easy to work with as I think they should be, Supabase just there's just no world where Supabase builds on top of Neon. And this is I actually have a lot of history here because like when we were pitching Fly to investors, I had this whole Rebel Alliance idea of like we're going to do compute well, somebody else is going to do database as well, somebody else is going to do X well. And the reality is like no startups are actually very good at working together, both for good reasons, like they have competing customer priorities, which is why Supabase and like where we're not really been successful in using Supabase to offer managed Postgres to our users because Supabase has entirely different user needs than we do. It doesn't make any sense to make a good Postgres for us. But I think that like companies are just we're all still competitive in some ways. In a lot of ways, like I think that my guess is that Neon sees a future where Supabase doesn't really exist because they're going to grow to take it over. But the reality is what Neon is really good at is what Supabase could actually take advantage of. That's why they've got the Oriole DB thing going, which is great. I love more open source Postgres alternatives. This is good for me.
yeah. You mentioned the phrase Rebel Alliance. I didn't know that was a public phrase.
It's been public and not. I've actually like I had a landing page up and I would talk to individual companies about this. Because to me, like it's obvious that I should be focused on being very good at one thing. Like it's like the Unix, like, sharp tools and pipes, basically.
Yeah.
To me, it's obvious that like if there's a company that's extremely good at compute and they're easy to work with, the next hosted database company should just build as like on top of, but in partnership with them. And the next like object storage company should build in partnership with them and be using that compute. And then our customers use their object storage, which actually worked out pretty well with Tigris. But that's the only time this paid. Tigris and Upstash are the only two companies that this worked out well for us with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of this, in some ways, I damaged the company by waiting way too long to do our own managed Postgres because I was like principled about like, we're not going to do a better managed Postgres than anyone in the world. So we're going to wait for the right company to come along and partner with us on this. And then what I've learned is what our users don't care about is they don't really need the best managed Postgres in the world. What they need is the best Postgres for Fly apps in the world, which is actually something we should build for them, if that makes sense. And so,
yeah,
Rebel Alliance has been, destroyed by the Empire or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, dang. It's not a real thing anymore?
No, I don't think the world's going to shake out that way. There's like some real practical issues here. Like, for example,
can you zoom out and explain? I mean, I'm being limited in my, like, behind the scenes, we've had some conversations because of our relationship. And there's things that we've actually purposely not